Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kieran. I like to help people using a spiritual perspective. Today, I wanted to talk about the importance of mastering your emotions. Okay? Now, the reason why this is so important is because mastering your emotions is ultimately something that leads to a type of fulfillment, an apex of your personality, right? It is the ability to control your state of being and to tap into your own masterful soul self, right? Your own true sense of energy and power, right? It's an incredibly important asset to have that allows you to really fulfill who you're really meant to be in this life. Because when you are able to control your emotions, what you find is that you have a very incredible, detailed power. And ultimately, it comes down to kind of like a single sentence, which is nothing is ever really going to happen to you. Okay? Now, what I mean by this is nothing can ever really happen to the person inside of you, to your real self, to the person that transcends the 3D reality that you're looking at, to the person that is everything that encompasses you, right? Not just your gender, your sexuality, your name, your skin color, your hair, all that other shit, right? It is who you really are in your essence, right? Everything, right? You are literally one and nothing at the same time. You're everything and nothing, okay? Which may be a little bit hard to understand, but I'll give you some examples, okay? Because it is a truly important thing to be able to know how to do, and it is something that a lot of my YouTubers probably could not YouTube subscribers, I mean, could probably benefit from, because I primarily do twin flame stuff, right? So, well, I'll give you a small example. I'll just start with it, okay? So what I mean by this is, let's just say you're in traffic, right? And somebody cuts you off on the road, as people tend to do. Everybody in a car is suddenly a dickhead, right? Probably myself included. Whatever it is about cars, for whatever reason, people are absolutely the worst versions of themselves, right? So say somebody cuts you off, okay? Your first initial reaction might be to feel anger, slighted, a little bit like victimized, right? Why did this person do that? How could they cut me off? Don't they understand this, this, and this, the rules, blah, 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 all the things inside your head, right? But really, at its core, all that's happened is someone cut in front of your car. Nothing actually happened to you. Do you understand? It happened at you. And so when you get to choose your emotions, you get to recognize and become aware of the things that are actually going on around you are not actually happening to who you are. They are simply happening to your life or in your life. They are not happening to who you are, right? So they do not happen to I'll just use myself as an example. Somebody cutting me off on the road, and I used to be one of the people that get very, very angry. I used to have road rage. One time I threw some quarters at a car. Don't tell the police. I got away with that one because I'm a lucky guy. But the point is, I was very angry about just random shit like that. And so I'll use myself again as an example. So, nothing is happening to me, Kieran. Right? Somebody cuts me off on the road. It is not Kieran who is getting cut off, right? It is not my soul. It is not everything that I encompass. It is simply, something happening in the 3D, and I get to choose how I react to that, right? And when you're not in control of your emotions, you let your pride or your ego or your anger or these hidden suppressed feelings come out and really run rampant throughout your life and get you into trouble, like with throwing quarters at a car and almost potentially getting caught. But it couldn't catch me because I am a gangster. So, all that being said, you probably get the idea, right? These things do not actually happen to you. They happen around you. And you get to choose whether you let them in via some sort of metaphorical gate, right? And this goes with relationships as well, with people, with words, with comments, with negativity, okay? You do get to choose how you feel, right? And the importance of mastering your emotions really comes down to not letting these negative events, right, perceived to be negative, actually influence other parts of your life, right? And it's why it is important to keep separate areas of your life separate. Now you have your love life, you have your social life, you have your work life, you have your personal life. sex life, I don't know. You got all sorts of different versions of yourself, right? That you even present to different people. Not everybody can know the real you. There's simply not enough time, simply not enough effort, simply not enough, care, right? Is you have to choose who you share your true self with your energy, right? So not everybody gets this authentic version of you, even if you are acting authentic in all times. I just simply mean that not everybody's getting the full you, right? Even just a stranger in the streets, just getting whatever they're seeing at that moment, right? And so when you have these areas of your life that are separate from each other, if something negative, for instance, happens in your love life, as often tends to do, that emotional upset or that heartbreak will not influence the rest of your life, right? It is not going to be something that affects your career, your job, your output in other areas of your life, okay? And I've always been a very emotional person. It was just strange being a Virgo, whether or not you're familiar with that. Basically, the stereotype is just that we're very collected, analytical, aloof, sarcastic, whatever. So I've always had that side of me as well, but I've always often let emotion guide me. And so if I had emotional upsets in my life, say whether it was anger, heartbreak, etc., that would often interfere with other aspects of my life. Not able to pursue personal projects, not able to stay committed to a job, not able to spend time with friends or whatever, right? So that is something that in my past has very much affected me, because I wasn't in control of my emotions, and I wasn't in some sort of mastery. Not to say that I've reached some pinnacle of that right now. I've just started along that process, right? I'm healing that idea, and that's why, again, I like talking about this stuff, because you talk about what you know, right? And I know about being an emotional fuck up, so why not talk about it? So that's kind of the idea, is when you do separate your love life and things like that, again, these things don't tend to interfere with other aspects of your life. And that's, again, a huge importance of gaining some type of mastery over your emotions, is being able to have a control, to have a type of guidance within yourself about what to do with all your emotions, right? Having mastery of your emotions and really choosing how you get to feel doesn't mean that you suppress your emotions, which I've often done through the wonderful help of marijuana, or to deny them altogether. What it really means is allowing yourself to feel them, allowing yourself to be vulnerable within a safe, comfortable space, and to actually just cry, scream, shout, have some type of cathartic experience, and let it go. And when you do that, when you allow yourself to feel pain, when you allow yourself to, when you honor your own pain, you honor your own process, you'll notice that each time that you go through something like that, it gets easier and easier to handle, until the things that once used to upset you no longer upset you, either because you've matured or you've reached some type of tolerance. Either way, the benefits are quite positive, obviously, because if you can deal with things that used to upset you and they don't upset you anymore, then you've made some type of progress. And again, just going back to, I used to have quite a bit of road rage, used to have a very an anger problem, which wasn't really my anger problem. It was my father's, right? How cliche. But that's the idea. I'm not actually an angry person. So any type of anger or quick impulsive behavior doesn't actually come from me. It's a conditioning, right? It's just up to me to really heal that and allow my more natural self to come in. Okay, so that's an element of controlling your emotions, is actually letting them go freely. Okay, not suppressing them, not squishing them down. Really, because you have to allow yourself a cathartic emotional experience in order for you to gain anything from it, right? And self-pity, what I've noticed in my own life, and depression really comes from an inability to truly express yourself at some point, either from the beginning of the emotional experience, and which later manifests as pity, depression, sadness, regret, whatever, or from something that happened in childhood, some type of conditioning, which of course will then affect every single upset in your life, right? Or maybe even a combination of both. Okay, there's plenty of experiences in my life where things, even with emotional relationships, that no longer bother me to such a degree, because I've been through a large amount of pain, right? And you will notice, and I think this is very specific to the people that are not with somebody that they love at this moment, maybe feeling lonely, right? Feeling like there's nobody for you. These things tend to come into your life, these powerful moments of mastering your emotions, when you do feel this way, when you do feel very negative, when you do feel overwhelmed, because ultimately what's happening is that the universe, or however you really want to look at it, you could call it God, Buddha, doesn't really matter. But the idea is these things happen when you're in a position where really everything to be gained is from within yourself, right? Every type of successful resolution that you need, that you desire, could come about if you simply saw things in a new way, if you simply had an ability to control or master your own emotions, right? Because in this way, negative events aren't going to overwhelm you anymore. They aren't going to sideline you and keep you down. They're not going to drag you back and hold you beneath the surface of the waves, so to speak, right? So these types of events, these types of feelings of really negativity that we often find ourselves in, it sometimes comes in great waves of change in our own personal life. And so if you do find yourself at a time right now where you might be feeling lonely or depressed or nobody around you, notice that those feelings are holding you back from your own future, from your own potential success. And you're destined success because you are destined for it. Simply all you're doing is taking the steps towards it, as if you were walking a predetermined path, which you are. It just might be hard to think about it like that. But when you get caught up in those emotional states of being, you keep yourself trapped and prolong the inevitable process. And gaining control of your emotions, having that sense of mastery, will allow you to drop all that baggage, to leave it behind you, because you can quite simply move on. And that's why gaining control of your emotions often comes in a time when you have no control of your emotions. So that's just something I wanted to mention, just in case you do find yourself in a position right now that's quite precarious, or, a little bit on the edge of the cliff, not sure what to do. Do I jump? Do I not jump? Right? Whatever kind of metaphor you want to fill in there, the idea is the same thing, right? Gaining that control of those emotions and having that mastery will actually allow you to propel yourself forward from wherever it is that you're standing or stuck at this time, right? So again, just checking my little notebook to see if I have anything else wrote down. So I just wanted to really to go over that again with one aspect is about choosing how you feel and choosing how you get to react to certain events. You hear particular news, whether or not it's good, it's bad, mixed, whatever. You have the ability to choose how you're going to react to something. You do not have the ability to choose what happens to you. Again, you can never control whether or not someone else is going to cut you off in traffic. But you do get to control how you react to somebody's behavior. Because their behavior is not your behavior, and nothing is happening to you. If you see it from a deeper perspective, if you understand who you really are, not your thoughts, not your mind, not your instinctual reaction to things that happen, if you just understand who you truly are at a core level, all the things that make up you, you will realize that nothing outside of you could possibly ever harm you. And that's where the idea of safety and comfort comes in. It comes in through your sense of authenticity, through your true self, through your soul. Because that's the thing that nobody can touch. Your career might fall apart. You might gain some weight. You might go bald. God, I hope I never go bald. You might, fall down, trip, whatever. All of these things that happen in your life never actually truly happen to you. Okay? They might be happening to your life, but again, it's just a representation of what's going on in the 3D world, right? These things are not they're material, they're tangible, but they're not seeing the whole picture, the reality of things, which is of course the 4D, 5D type of energies that are going on, right? The things that we can't see. Those are the things that are truly you, that are truly within you, that energy, right? And nothing is going to be able to take that power away from you. The only thing that can take power away from you is really yourself, because that's how powerful you are, right? And I'd like, let that sink in, because it is true. Nobody and nothing can really take any power away from you except for yourself, because that's how powerful you are, right? That's a nice little soundbite, I think. It makes a lot of sense. So, all that being said, you might be kind of wondering, well, then how do you gain control of your emotions? How do you take healthy steps, right? And the first thing that you could do, and probably the most important thing, is to become aware of how you react to things. Okay, and this even goes for positive things, because sometimes reacting positively and being overeager can actually be a downfall or a type of personality trait that people take advantage of, right? Um, you might think, for instance, you have a very, very good deal or something, and it turns out that, it's not, right? So I'll just go over quick. Recently, I bought a car. Okay, now it's not the best car in the world. It's not a piece of crap either. I actually got a pretty good deal and for a pretty good car. And I don't have to pay car payments, and that's fine with me. I'm starting my life over, so to me, it's honestly a nice little blessing. I feel a little bit more comfortable again, more confident, right? With the first car, though, that I checked out, I was immediately taken because I'm pretty impatient as a person. Okay, I think I've mentioned it a couple times. I'm not patient. I hate it. I want things to happen, like that. And this would be the point where I would snap my fingers if I knew how, but I don't. So, get the idea. So I like that because that's how things happen in the 5D, right? That's how energy works, and then the rest of it has to take its time in the 3D. That's why we're constantly waiting, right? And that's, again, side note, why you can actually count on your success, because it's already actually happened. All you're doing is going through the motions of waiting for it to really appear right in front of your eyes, right? But that's a video for a different day. So again, I got this, so I got to this car or whatever, right? And I liked it because, again, first car that I saw, I was just eager to get a car. It was even cheaper than the one that I paid for recently. And it had like a really cool sound system, right? And I'm a music producer. I like music. It's on my YouTube channel. There's some link to the music that I've made. And excuse me, I was taken because of that aspect, right? But the car, when I was driving it, didn't really feel right. The person that I met with had a face tattoo, so I was like, that's a red flag. And it was just like the whole experience was a little bit weird. You know what I mean? Not to judge people by their appearances and stuff. I'm a little bit past that, but you do get a sense of, idea about people through their energy and stuff. And when I first started the car, it didn't turn on, right? It stalled. And, of course, the guy was like, oh, that never happens. I was like, yeah, that never happens. I'm sure it doesn't. And that was another red flag. You know what I mean? So these things build up. So if I would have bought in that car, I probably would have gotten like a shitty car. Do you know what I mean? I drove a couple cars after that, basically did my due diligence. So that the car that I did pick, which is around the fourth or the fifth one, felt right. It felt like I was going to be driving it even before I ended up buying it, 3 days later, everything just kind of felt right about the car. It's not even a car that I would have ever thought seeing myself in. It's more of an SUV than anything else. And so, I found myself in this car because I took the time a little bit with it. But in the past, the overeagerness of things, having that reaction to things, oh, that's awesome, I'll get it. It often doesn't, having that reaction can sometimes be negative. Like you can have a negative result because of that. So it's also important to learn how you react to things that are positive as well, not just negative. Though obviously people will mostly focus on the negative because that's how most of the problems occur in life. But you also notice that your positive reactions to things can sometimes have a negative reaction as well, especially if you've ever jumped into a relationship too quickly. I'm sure many of you have. I definitely have. I think everybody does at some point. We're all horny kids at some point in our life. So that's kind of the idea, right? So the first step is to really become aware of what's going on around you and how you react to those things, okay? Just try and be attentive of these types of things. And if you find yourself struggling to be aware throughout your day, then all that simply means is you might need to take a step before that step, a pre-step or something, where you really just spend 30 minutes a day in either a meditative state. Don't necessarily have to meditate, but just sit with yourself and maybe listen to your internal monologue. Maybe just spend time listening to music and clear your head. Just relax a little bit. Okay, we do this all the time. People are kind of scared of meditation because of the actual act itself, but people really are in a meditative state, so to speak, mostly like throughout the day in some way or another, right? Mindless tasks, doing the dishes, brushing your teeth, whatever. Relaxing. When you relax, you're not really thinking about stuff, right? So that's kind of, if you find yourself, hard to become to an awareness of what's going on around you, of you tracking your own reactions, try to try to just find some space for yourself during the day where you can just think about nothing or everything and just relax and watch it, or see it, so to speak, unfold inside your own mind, right? The second thing that I wrote down, which I didn't actually write down, is journaling. Okay, journaling is an important step and something that I often have been slacking with a little bit lately. Only, I don't know why I've been slacking. I'm naturally a writer and I write all the time, so maybe that's why I've been slacking, because I often do write, and so in some way or another I am expressing myself. But journaling is a really good tool for just getting your everyday thoughts, your emotions onto paper so that you can look at them and see them. The great thing about journaling, and I think the most important thing, is that you can see your progress live, right, daily. You, literally within a week, you could look back and go, "Oh shit! Like, all these thoughts are crazy. They're negative. They're so negative, and I don't even feel that way anymore. So why was I so upset then?" And this will give you a better understanding of your own emotional states, what triggers you, what doesn't trigger you, how you feel about certain events, the types of events that are going on in your life. You can underline themes within your life as if you're doing a critical analysis of some Shakespeare play, right? Life often does become like these elements of things that you do, like you people are very they don't think that they have this ability to take the type of proper care and attention to detail that they would with a project in school or a work project or something, and apply it to their own life, where they could be very successful in whatever project they're doing, but completely believe that they can't do it about their own life, right? For instance, I'm very good at what is it, critical thinking. It's funny that I just said that and also had a stroke at the same time. But the idea is, I can, I've always been good at English, subjects like that. Not very good at math and sciences, because those are more about answers that are yes and no and overwhelming my brain, and I just become like a bowl of soup inside my head, and it's overwhelming for me, because it's just, it's just information overload. But when I'm called to write a report on Hamlet, or some other boring ass book, then I can do it very, very well, because I love reading, and I love analyzing and picking out those things and using that critical thinking and formulating an educated opinion about something and backing it up with evidence, that argumentation really. So that's something that I'm good at, and that's something that I could have always applied to my life as well, looking at myself, looking at my own emotional state. And so you can actually do the same thing. If you find yourself that you're actually good at those types of things, whether it's school again, or it could be work projects, you apply it to your own self through a journal, and you can catalog your own emotional states of being, your own inner turmoil, and really look at it and feel what's wrong with your life, and feel how things are upsetting, and where the balance is lost, right? So again, it might be a lot of emotional relationships that you write about, and after a week or two, you might see that there's always a theme that might always come back to, let's say, not feeling good enough, okay? Something like that. As oftentimes I've wrote in my journal, then after like 4 or 5 days, it's very easy to pick up on a theme of negativity, which comes back to some form of self-worth, which is all, most forms of struggle really do come to feeling a lack, which is some part of not feeling loved enough, or not feeling worth whatever it is you're trying to achieve, right? So that's something to, those are just a couple things to just help you catalog and to start the process of emotional mastery, okay? The rest of it, honestly, because a lot of the times people will try to tell you what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, and they'll even try to sell you products on it, which is all great and fun, but ultimately, you do have the power inside of you to do that, and a lot of it is just experience, right? It is, it's about taking necessary steps and being aware of the experience that you're in, and just allowing it to play out. You don't really need to do anything too fancy to gain control of your emotions. You simply need to be aware that you're not in control of them, that you would like to be. You set that intention, and then take some small necessary steps to catalog it, journal, meditate. Become aware of your emotional reactions, right? That type of thing. Be more present in your life. Take some moments. There's a great technique called EFT. It's emotional finger tapping. This has helped me out in my life. What I used to do was get a rubber band, and I used to plug it against my wrist, which would hurt. I don't even like pain, so I really don't like pain. So for me, that was like a very easy but kind of harsh way to let go of something. If I were to think about someone, ex-girlfriend or whatever, I would take the rubber band, put it against my wrist, and I would, learn to forget it, right? Some type of a Pavlov dog thing. And but emotional finger tapping is a little bit more, I don't know, humane, so to speak. So basically, if you find yourself being lost or overwhelmed, what you do is you bring yourself back to center, tapping parts of your face, other parts of your body, whatever, down here, right? There's different things. You'd have to look it up. I'm not too familiar with all the different places you can touch, but the idea is to just bring some awareness into your body, which is a great way of gaining control of your emotions as well, because you'll notice that you have an emotional body, you have a physical body, you have a light body, all these nice little spiritual terms that you got going on. So the idea is to bring yourself back to center. And that's always what emotional mastery is at the end of the day, is a balance, a center, a place where you can reside in, like an inner world. Okay? So this is just some few things. Again, I don't claim to be any type of master on anything. I'm just a guy who wants to talk about these things through a spiritual perspective, things that he understands, I understand, things that I experience, and share my wisdom, and hopefully some of it resonates and actually sticks. Okay, so anyway, guys, let me know what you thought of the video, and thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see you guys whenever I see you, because I don't have any set schedule, because I am chaotic. All right, guys, I'll see you later. Thanks so much.